Parashat Terumah, Tuvshi and Pai Hai B'Siyata Deshmaya. Before we start the shir, I would like to announce that tonight is going to be Bezrat Hashem, the Mesibis Eirusin, Tanoim, engagement for my daughter. Mazel Tov, by all of you, Simchis and Achis, all of you, children and grandchildren, great grandchildren, B'Siyata Deshmaya, Simchis and Achis. So we're going to start the parsha. This week is Parashat Terumah. Davar al b'nei Yisrael v'yikcheli Terumah. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu that Klal Yisrael should give Terumah for the Nidvas HaMishkan, to build the Mishkan. Now all of the Mefarshim ask, why does the pasuk use the lashon v'yikchu? V'yikchu means taking. Actually, there were gabuim that they were taking the money. But when you say Davar al b'nei Yisrael, you're talking to the people that they are going to give the nedava for the mishkan. So it should say, Davar al b'nei Yisrael v'yitnu li Terumah. They should give Terumah. For sure, there has to be mekablem the gabu etzedukah that they were collecting it. But when you speak of it, you speak about the noistim. So it should say v'yitnu li Terumah. So there's a lot of truths in. I want to say a teretz that they say in the name of the Heilige Rishner. I don't know if he said it on this pasuk, but the Heilige Rishner says, there's a mamar of oilam. That means the world says, there's like a saying going around, a chacham lo yikeach, v'tipish no yisein. A smart person takes, and a shoite, a silly person, someone that's not so smart, he gives. A smart person knows how to get around without needing to give. He always knows where you're able to take. And a shoite, he is the one that he gives. That's how there's a mamar of chacham. Mamar oilam, the world says like this. They even bring it, there's interesting, this is B'derech Hagav. The Yavitz brings that the Gemara in the end of Uvasra calls a Bechoy that was born, the first child, to his mother. His mother gave birth to this child first. But he's not a Bechoy La'av because his father had already children before. So the Gemara calls him a Bechor Shoite. Now the Yavitz is Masber, why is he a Bechor Shoite? Because of this Mamar oilam. Because a bechoid that's a bechoid to his father, he gets pishnaim. Because he's Reishis Oinoi. He's his father's first child. So he gets double amount by the Yerusha. A bechoid that's a bechoid to his mother, a peterechem, you have to pay chomesh slu and pidyon aben. But if he's not a bechoid from his father, he doesn't get pishnaim. So actually such a bechoid is only paying and not getting. He's not getting the big double Yerusha, and he's only paying Chomesh Sluim. So that's why such a Bechoid is called a Bechoid Shoite, because he's only giving and not getting. So we see that a Chocham is the one that knows how to make money, and a Shoite is the one that spends the money, that gives it out. So this is what the world says. Before I go to the word of the Heilige Rishner, they say in the name of the Reb Meir from Plemishlam, there is a pasuk, Ashrei Maskil Eldol. Poshet Pshat means that Ashrei, the person that he knows how to make the doll feel good, gives him the tzeduk in a smart way, maskil al doll. He does it with seichel. Ramai Premishlanda says very poshet. We said now that a smart person knows how to earn money, and a typish, the not smart person, the silly person, he knows how to spend money. Maskil al doll, he makes the doll for a maskil, he gives him money, so now the doll earned money, so he makes it for a maskil, he makes him smart. Ashrei maskil al dol, he makes him smart, he should be getting money. But the Heilige Rishner says that what the world says, a smart person takes and a silly person gives, it has a gewaltige pshat. Why? Shkoyach. Because the Medrash says in Rus, and the pasuk when Rus came back to her mother-in-law, Naomi, and she asks her, where were you today? And she wanted to answer that she was by Boaz. It says over there in Pasuk, Shemo ish ashero sisi imo yayoim. The name of the person that I did with him good today, his name is Boaz. So the Medrash asks, Asisi imoy? Rus was the one that did good to Boaz. Actually, the opposite is right. Boaz did good to Rus. So the Medrash quotes over there, Yoyisir mema shabalabais oisem ha'oni, ha'oni oisem ha'balabais. More than what the balabas, the oishe gives, and he helps out the poor person, the oni. More than that, the poor person, he does for the balabus, because with this chuz that he gives him the ability to give tzedukah, and the tzedukah is being matzel, tzedukah tatzel mimoves, roidev tzedukah, yimtza tzedukah, chaim v'chovoid. It brings him all the good blessings. V'oyo maseh tzedukah shalom. Even more than that, the Zohar HaKodesh says that when Hashem wants to send a present to a good person that he likes, he sends him an oraman, an oni, a poor person, should be able to give him tzedakah, and that's the present that Hashem sends for the oishir. So the Heilige Rishon said, this is the pshat. A smart person knows that when he gives tzedakah, he is taking. A chacham takes, he knows when he gives tzedakah, he's not giving, he's taking more than he's giving. And a silly person thinks that when he gives tzedakah, he is giving. So a smart person takes and a silly person gives. Both speak about when you give tzedakah. Just what's your attitude by giving tzedakah? If you understand that you're actually getting more than you're giving, so you're taking. And the silly person thinks, yeah, he's spending money, so he gives. So according to this word, we can understand v'yikchu Terumah, that when you give tzedakah, you get much more than you give. That's why the pasuk calls it v'yikchu. Even though you give, but when you give, you get even much more. Now, before I want to go to the Gemara Masechta Psuchim, I want to say, they say in the name of the Rebbe Hershler from Ziditshoiv, that he said, the word Terumah is begematria, the numeral value, gematria, 651. Like Refa Shalem. Not Refuah Shalema, Refa, Reish Fei Aleph, and Shalem, Shi and Lamed Mem. Now, if you add to it the Eibishter's name, Yud Kai Vav Kai, it becomes Refuah Shalema. In the word Refa, you add Vav Kai. A Vav Kai, I mean to say a Hey. I don't want to say the Yid Kai, so I say Kai. But I mean to say a Hey. You add by the word Refa, a Vav and a Hey, so then it becomes Refuah. And by the word Shalem, you add the Yud and the Hey, then it's Shleima. So it's Refuah Shleima. Zogt the Heilige Rebbe Hershler in the Tzoyver, V'yikchu li Terumah, Rashi says, Li Lishmi. You should give it L'Shem Shamayim. He says, Li Lishmi, add my name. Hashem says, add my name to the word Terumah. Terumah is begematria Refuah Shalem. Add my name, Yud Kai Vav Kai, it's going to be Refuah Shleima. That's what they say in the name of the Rebbe Hershler in the Tzoyver. Now I want to explain a little bit what he meant. Where does it come in of Refuah Shalema? But you can understand it very good. The Gemara says in Masechta Psuchim. It's also a Gemara in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, a few places the Shas. Who oimer sel azil tzedakah. A person gives money to tzedakah and he says, Hashem, I ask you, b'schus this tzedakah, b'shvil sheyichya b'ni. I have a child that needs a Refuah Shalema. In the schis of the tzedakah, my child should have a Refuah Shalema. Or I want to earn olam haba from my giving tzedakah. The Gemara says, I raise a tzaddik gomer. Such a person is considered a tzaddik gomer. Now, we have to understand this Gemara. Because he gives tzedakah, he's considered a tzaddik gomer, even if he only does this one mitzvah. So Rashi explains over there right away in Masechtas Psachim, tzaddik gomer ba'oisa mitzvah. In this specific mitzvah, he did it b'shleimus. He's a tzaddik gomer. Even more than that, Rabbeinu Chanan in Masechta Rosh Hashanah brings down a girsa, not tzaddik gomer, hareizu tzedakah gemura. The tzedakah he did b'shleimus, it's a tzedakah gemura. And what's the pshat? The chiddush is, even though you could say maybe when a person gives tzedakah, he has in mind his own benefits. He wants his child should become well. He wants to earn olam haba because the tzedakah. Even though it's still considered tzedakah gemura, you're a tzaddik gomer b'oisa mitzvah, even if you did it while you're having in mind your own benefits, gashmius or ruchnius, no matter what. Because you gave tzedakah, you're a tzaddik gomer b'oisa mitzvah. So we see from this Gemara that when you give tzedakah, it's a gewaldige way how to earn whatever you need. Shashem yemalei, all your meshalas libcha l'toiva. Specifically, the Gemara mentions, Yichya b'ni, my child should become well. So that's the choyre what the Rebbe Hershler in the Tzoyver meant to say. He says, Terumah is Refuah Shalem. Even though when you give tzedakah, and you have in mind to earn a Refuah Shalem, it's li lishmi. it's considered you did it l'shem shamayim. You could add my name, Yud Kai Vav Kai, that makes it for a refuah shalema. And it's considered you did it l'shem shamayim. You gave this truma, this tzedakah l'shem shamayim, even though you had in mind for a refuah shalema, because I raise a tzaddigomu b'is mitzvah. It's a tzedakah gemira, even when you do it while having this in mind. In that Gemara, what we mentioned before, that a person gives a seller to tzedakah and he says, I want to get back from Hashem, sheyichya beni, oy she'aya ben oilamabe, and it's considered tzaddik gomer, tzedakah gemura, there's a gewaldige word from the holy tzaddik Ramotche Banet. Ramotche Banet was in the time, was before the Heilige Chassam Sofer. I think he's buried in Niklasburg next to the Rebbe Reb Shmelke from Niklasburg. He says, the Ramot Chabanet, what's the Lashon? Who oimer sela zil tzedakah? He says, it should say in the Gemara, hanoisen sela tzedakah. You give money for tzedakah, and you have a mind, b'zvil sheyichya beni, or she'aya ben oilamabe. Why it's the Lashon who oimer? Says the gewaltige pshat. The Gemara says also, when you give tzedakah, you earn 6 brachas. When a person gives tzedakah, hanoisen prite la'ani, misborech b'sheish brachas. V'ame faisloi. How do you say mefaiso? You suit him, I think. Oh, you suit him with good words. You're being a mefais. You do pious, bezborach beyud ala brachas. You get 11 brachas. If you tell him good words, you tell him don't worry. Even though now you have hard times, Hashem is going to help. Everybody has ups and downs in his life. And Hashem is going to help. You're going to be back, going up, and everything is going to be fine. Everything is going to be good. You give him Chizuk. You give him pious. You suit him with good words, that's 11 brachas. And Tosfos explains, it doesn't mean 6 and another 5. It's another 11. For soothing alone, you earn 11 brachas. So when you give tzedakah with soothing, you get 70 brachas. Toiv ish choinen amalve. When a person gives tzedakah, you earn 17 brachas. Kise kadmenu birchos toiv. You earn birchos toiv if you give tzedakah, and you also suit them with words. Now, the best way, the nicest way how to suit a person is when you give him tzedakah and you make him feel that he's the one that's giving, he's not the one that's getting. How do you do it? You tell him, you know, you came in such a good time. I need now a blessing. Tfilah la'ani. The power of a poor person is gewaldig. Give me a blessing. A child of mine needs a refuah. I need a broche that something, a business deal should go through well. I beg you, give me your broche. So then he feels so good by getting the money. He knows he's giving, he's not taking. That's the biggest madrega of mefaisoi. You're suiting him so gewaldig, you're giving him tzedakah, and you're doing a gewaldig appears by suiting him in that way. This says Ramot Chabanet. Who oimer, not only you give it, you tell the poor person, you know, sell azul tzedakah, I'm giving you tzedakah, I need it more, I need it desperately. Why? B'shvil sheyichya beni. I need my child should be well. She'eya ben oilamabe. You give such a tzedakah, arise a tzaddik gomer, tzedakah gemira. You're a tzaddik gomer in the mitzvah. You did the tzedakah on the best way possible. You did it on the nicest way, by doing it that way. Uri chatu adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, shehakol niu b'dvoroi. They say in the name of the Rebbe Reb Shmelke in Niklasburg that he is once said on the pasuk v'hikcho li Terumah, and Rashi says li lishmi. Now Pashat Pshat means Rashi that when you give tzedakah, you should have in mind l'shem shamayim. That's the Pashat Pshat. We spoke before that even though you give it where you want to earn benefit for yourself, it's also gewaldig tzedakah. It's also good. Like the Gemara says in Masechet Psuchim, he says an interesting pshat, and I would like to explain it a little bit. He brings down a Gemara in Masechet Bava Basra and Peirik HaMoicher Asfina. In the beginning, the Gemara says, "La'osid lovoi, Kalal Yisrael, the tzaddikim are going to be called with Hashem's name. Which name? Kadosh. Hashem is called now Kadosh, Ato Kadosh, Shimcha Kadosh. Tzaddikim la'asad lovoi are going to be called with the name of Hashem Kadosh." Now it's interesting because probably we live already in Yemais HaMashiach, Because today's days you call everyone a Kadosh, holy person. But the Gemara says, Asidim, Tzadikim, La'asid Lava, they're going to be called with Hashem's name Kadosh. Says the Heilige Rebbe Reb Shmelke, V'yikhu li l'shmi, what Rashi means, a remes. Hashem says, I want already, the time should come where you're going to take my name. V'yikhu li, take my name, l'shmi. I'm waiting already for the time that Mashiach is going to come and you're going to be taking and using my name, Kadosh, is going to be put on you. You're going to be called Kadosh. That's what they say in the name of the Rebbe Shmelke. I want to just explain, maybe be moisef a little bit. The Gemara says in Masechta Pesachim, in the last Peirik, the Gemara speaks about one of the Amiruim. His name was Reb Menachem ben Reb Simui. Reb Menachem, the son of Reb Simui. The Gemara calls him Benon Shel Kedoshim. He is a child of holy people. Benon Shel Kedoshim. A child of holy people. Why? The Gemara says, because his father Reb Simui never looked at the money. Lo yistakel b'tzura sedezizeh. He never looked at the tzura of money. It didn't interest him anything that has something to do refer to money. It didn't interest him. So that's why his father was called Kadosh, and this Reb Menachem was called Benon Shel Kedoshim, a son of Kedoshim. What do we see from this Gemara? That someone who has no shaykhis to money, he is called Kadosh. He is mufrash, muvdal. He has no shaykhis to gashmiyas. He is called the Kadosh. So maybe what the Rebbe Shmelke says, V'yikhu l'shmi, he wants to explain like this. We had before this Gewaldige Kasha. Why does it say V'yikhu? Why doesn't it say V'yitnu? You should give tzedakah. You should give Terumah. If we speak a person that has no connection to money, money doesn't talk to him. When he gives tzedakah, he doesn't feel that he is giving. It's not his. Even though it's in his pocket, but it's over there as a pikado and it has to arrive to someone. So when he gives, it's only considered that the people are taking it from him. It's not that he calls himself a giver. The ones that are taking, those are the takers. So v'yikhu li Terumah, Zakter, li l'shmi, when you're going to take my name, you're going to be called Kadosh. When are you going to be called Kadosh? The lo yistakel b'tzura sedezizeh. It won't interest you any money. Money won't interest you if you're going to be in that madrege. So then I can't talk to you and say you should give. Money doesn't interest you. Whoever wants could come and take it. The Gabuits that want to take it, V'yikhu, they could come and take it. So it only refers the kicha, meaning to say, for sure it's going out from their possession and it's going into the Gabba's possession. But the way it's going out is not by him giving and they are taking. He is ready, they should take it. It's only considered V'yikhu, they should take it. Another remes that says in Sefer Noya Megodim, a holy Sefer, that it brings down on this pasuk V'yikhu li Terumah. Say it. It brings down an interesting. It brings down an interesting remes, the Noya Megodim. He says, how much do you have to give Terumah? So the Gemara says, the emes min ha'toir is enough. Chita achas peteres kol kri. You have a whole kri. How do you call it the kri in English? A whole of seeds of chita. Pile? Yeah, it could be pile. It doesn't have a better word than pile. Kari. Kaf reshid. Huh?
Like a silo? Like a place where you store it?
Not where you store it. When you make it, before, it's like you make it like a round.
Mound.
A mound, huh? Mound. With a D in the end or a T? D. A mound of tevuah. Chita achas. One chita you take for Terumah. You see, you learn over here English, Rabbi. Not only I'm learning English. Ay, gewaldig. So, chita achas. One chita, peteres kol kri, could part the whole mound of the mitzvah of Terumah. Now, Chazal said, you shouldn't give so little. You should give a nice amount. Now, they gave three options. Or you give 1 out of every 40, so that means like 2.5%. If you get 1 out of 40, it's 2.5 of 100. Yeah, that's 2.5%. That's ayin yofe. You have a nice, good eye, you give a lot. Then this ayin ro. He has a bad eye, he gives 1 out of 60. That's like 1.8%. Yeah, 1.8%. Correct? Now the Gemara says, and ayin beinon is means a normal eye. That's good, not too good, not too bad. Is 1 of 50. That's 2%. That's Terumah, 2%. 1 out of 50. So they say a remes. The Gemara brings down the Rishonim. Terumah is Trei Mimeya, 2 from 100. So that's the ayin beinanis. The normal way is to give 2 out of every 100. Trei Mimeya, a remes in the word Terumah. Comes the Noam Megad and he says a gewaltige Zach. He says every person has to make every day Meir bruches, 100 bruches. The Gemara brings down that in the times of David HaMelech there was a Magefa. People were dying. They were dying. A lot of people, maybe 100 people were dying every day. And he made the Shalas Cholim. And then he was told David HaMelech that the reason is because they're not makpid to make the Meir bruches b'chol yoyim. When you make Meir bruches b'chol yoyim, all the evil, all the not good, can't have a Shlita on the person. Now, part of the Meir Bruches is davening, the biggest part. The 3 Shemanestes, the brachas that you make in the morning. But a chelik of the brachas are the brachas that you make when you eat. A bracha lefaneo, a bracha lachreo. So comes the Noam Megadim and he says, you have to have kavanah by the brachas. Now, by davening, it's not so hard to have kavanah. He says, what does he mean by having kavanah? The guf and the neshama should be together by davening. Not only his guf is in shul, and his mind is wandering around, and he's not over here. He should be together with his guf by davening. He calls this Trei Meya. By the Meya Bruches, there should be 2. The guf and the neshama. Both should be together by davening. You know, once they said, I saw someone writing, he saw someone davening, and he's saying, Slach Lonu. He's like, so he tells him, why are you knocking? There's no one at home. There's no one at home. Why are you knocking on the door? There's no one available. Because sometimes he could be davening, but he's not over here. His heart is not over here. It should be by davening. He says even more. He brings down, he quotes a Lashon Chazal, Ner le'echot, ner le'meya. Pashut Pshat Chazal mean when you put on a light, even if you put it on for one person, 100 people could have also hanua from it. Because it's the same light, does light for everyone. Ner le'echot, ner le'meya. A light that you put on for one person could do good for 100 people. He says, ner refers to the light that you put in by davening. The nefesh, ruach, and neshama, ner. Echad, he says, Bashma Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Everybody is mechavan, Hashem Echad. His soul and his body are together. The same should be by the whole Meir Brochus. Ner le'echad, the ner that you put in, the nefesh, riach, and neshama, but you say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. You should do ner le'meya, but the Meir Brochus that you would say every day.
If we're speaking about the enemy,
yeah.
we don't say shtekol chabad. Both neshama should be there. Shnei nefashas.
Very good.
Nefesh
Gewaldig. He says, and that's Shnei Oir, Gewaldig. To be mahapach also the nefesh habeyamis, to the good chayli, Gewaldig. That's Terumah, Trei. But the befrat, when we speak about Birchas Anahanim, for sure we understand, because he explains that Klippas Noiga is by the Achila. You have to be at Male, to the better parts. So again, so he says over there, the Noam Megadim, he says, when it comes to broches, by eating, there sometimes people are hard to be mechavan, because his mind is already focused in what he's going to eat. So that's why he brings down a pasuk in Tehillim, Baruch Atu Hashem, Lamdeinu Chikecha. It's in Kuf Yites. He says, what's the Pashat Pshat? David HaMelech begs Hashem, teach me your Torah. So he starts, Baruch Atu Hashem, you should be blessed, Hashem. Lamdeini, teach me Chikecha, your chukim, your halachas, your Torah. So he says it's the only place in Tehillim where before David HaMelech says tefillah, he begs for something, he starts with Baruch Atu Hashem. There's no other pasuk like this in Tehillim. Why? He says a remes. Says chikecho refers to the mazon that a person eats. Hatrifeini lechem chuki. Choik is lishna de mazoin. The Gemara says in Masech Beitz at the beginning of the second perik. Choik is a lishna of mazoin. Hatrifeini lechem chuki. Lechem is called also by Yosef HaTzadik. It says over there, he gave ochlu es chikam. He gave for the komorim, for the galuchim in Mitzrayim. He gave them their choik. He gave them their mazoin. David HaMelech asks Hashem, when I make Baruch Atu Hashem regarding chikecho, when I want to eat, lamdeini, help me out, teach me, I should know how to make the brachas. Shouldn't get lost. When it comes to eating, you should remember how to make the bracha lefaneo, the bracha lachreu. Burich atu Hashem that I make by chikecho. When it comes to eating, lamdeini, teach me how to do it. I once heard in the name of the Beyond the Rebbe Zechron Levruch Ramart Chshloime. He was once by Yesuda. By a Mesibah, there was a lot of Gedolim over there, and they served the meal. Afterwards, they served how do you call it? Afters. Dessert. Oh, they served dessert, and the dessert was ice cream. Now the Beyond the Rebbe Zechron didn't touch it. He left it at his place, and one of the Gedolim gave him a tap and said, Beyond the Rebbe, why don't you eat the dessert? So he told him, before a person eats something, you have to make a shtiklis boinanis. Thinking, what are you doing? What are you eating? This dessert, he says, before you start thinking about it, it's melted, it's out, there's nothing to eat. I can't eat something in a rush. I have to make a bracha fast. I have to chap around before it gets melted. So he can't eat such a machel. So a person, before he eats something, he has to have a shtiklis boinanis. So he brings down the Noam Megadim. He refers that v'hikcholit shvimah. There's a remes over here in this pasuk that the meye bruches that you make b'mesher the day by davening and also by eating, you should be, your soul and your goof should be by the bracha. Not only you should be physically saying it, also your mind should be together with the soul by thanking Hashem for the good food that He gives you, for whatever we thank Him. Befrat that come to Berchas Hamazon. I once heard from my Rebbe, the Beyond Rebbe Shlita. He once said that a Balchiva, I don't remember if he said it was a Balchiva or a Ger Tzedek, came into him to speak about a few things, and he mentioned also that since he became more religious, he became Balchuva, became a Ger Tzedek, how do you say it in English? He picked up some weight. He became a little bit fatter. He gained weight. He gained weight. Very important. What? Graf. He gained weight. 1 second, they say in the name of Tzadikim that the Moiranaim from Chernobyl, the Menachem Luchem from Chernobyl, before he was Niskarav to the Derech HaChassidus, he was very skinny and afterwards he became, in a short time, he gained weight. He looked full. And Tzadikim said it wasn't Dafke because before he was fasting a lot, before he was Niskarav to Derech HaChassidus, and then he started eating, he became fat from davening and learning. He started doing the Avodas Hashem with such a geschmack, because he was Niskarav to Derech HaChassidus, he became fatter from davening and learning. But this he that went into the Beyond the Rebbe, he said, so the Rebbe asked him if he has a clue why it happened. He says, yeah, because I started eating 2 or 3 times a day and I wash every time. So that's why I gained weight and my weight is going up. So the Beyond the Rebbe, he told him, maybe you should go on only with 1 time a day washing. The other times, eat some protein, fish and meat, vegetables, not washing, not starch. So this Balchiv or this Ger Tzedek answered the Beyond Rebbe, but how can I go by a few hours without thanking Hashem? Hashem Elokeinu, Al Shin Galte, Valte Roscho Shelemadetonu, Val Hakoil Hashem Elokeinu. You hear a madrega of a Yid, he's eating 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Start because he wants to be able to bench to Hashem. He wants to give a bracha to Hashem. That's gewaltig. That's the Pshat Tzaddik once said. V'chalta v'savata evarachta. Usually we say v'chalta v'savata. You get satisfied. Evarachta Hashem alekecha. But sometimes you could make it differently. V'chalta, you eat. V'savata evarachta. You get satisfied from the bracha making. From the bracha you get satisfied. That makes you. So says the Noam Megadim, you should see when you make brachas, befrat brichas anahanim, you should be together by doing the brachas. Now he puts in this remes and veichali Terumah, trei meya. But the meya brachas, it should be your body, your physical body, and your soul, your neshama. And I want to add to it. What's the pshat? Stam, he puts it in. Every remes has a reason. The Chiddushei says the Mishkan had Adonim. The Keroshim had Adonim on the bottom. How many Adonim were they? Ma'as Adonim. 100 Adonim. Says the Chiddushei, every Yid is a Mishkan. V'shachanti b'soicham, b'soich kol echad ve'echad. Hashem is being shoichen. How do you say shoichen? He is dwelling He is dwelling in each and every one of us. Hashem is dwelling. Now, if we have to be a Mishkan, we need first the Ma'as Adonim. That's the basis. That's the foundation of the Mishkan. What are the Ma'as Adonim? The Meir Bruchis, you call out Adonai. Hashem is He's my, how do you say, Adonai, my master. 100 times a day you call out Hashem is my master. That's the Ma'as Adonim. So if that's the Mishka Ma'as Adonim, we can understand that the God comes and he says, Terumah, when you give the Terumah for the Mishkan, remember, Trei Meir. When you make the Meir Bruchis, it should be the body and the soul together.
The Pashup Shad and Rashi, the Terumah,
yeah.
it's 3 Terumahs. One of them is that.
There you are, for the Adonim, 100%. So we could say that this V'ikcheli Terumah refers to this one, as Rashi goes on, that the Pasuk mentions of it 3 times Terumah. Gewaltig, Reb Duvet Ahron, yeah? Shkoyach. This week was the yahrzeit of one of the 60 Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. The Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh had 60 Talmidim. They called them Shishim Giborim. He had a lot of Talmidim, but 60 were like his main Talmidim. It said that when his neshama came down, Hashem told him, I'm going to give you for your neshama Shishim Giborim, like Shlomo HaMelech had Shishim Giborim Suviv surrounding his mitosei shel Shlomo. The Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh had Shishim Giborim. One of those 60, his name was Reb Duvet from Mykolaiv. Reb Duvet from Mykolaiv, his yahrzeit was this week Sunday, 2 days ago. Chof Hei Shvat. This story that I'm going to tell you is brought down in a Sefer Eretz HaChaim, was written by Reb Chaim Liberzon. This Sefer was written probably about 200 years ago. Every story over there is musmach, not a story made up, Mesher the Doiris. He was a big Talmud Chacham and a Chassidish Yid, and he brought down all Maises Mekoiris. He brings down such a story. The Baal Shem Tov wanted very much to have his own wine that was made by his Talmidim. Not have to buy wines. He wanted it should be no chashash of yain nesech at all. The barrels should be in new barrels that were never used for something else. And his own Talmidim. So he once asked, who is willing to do this shlichus for him? And Reb Duvet from Mykolaiv said, Rebbe, I'm ready. Baal Shem Tov ordered another Yid that was the Balagola. He knew how to ride a horse and wagon. And it was a very ehrliche Yid, a Yehudi, Ne'eman, Charedi, a religious, from Yid. And the Baal Shem Tov sent both of them. They should go to a city that over there was grapes, and maybe it was in Hungary, a far place. It wasn't close to where the Baal Shem Tov was in Mezhbish. And they went together, they bought new barrels in Mezhbish, and they took it with them. When they arrived there, the time of pressing the grapes, how do you call it in English? Pressing the grapes was usually at Chodesh Tishrei. Now, Reb Duvet Mykolaiv really wanted to be by his Rebbe, by the Baal Shem Tov, Rosh Hashanah, Yom HaKadosh, Sikkis, but he knew he has a task. He's going to make wine for his Rebbe. He's going to make him this Kiddush, Havdalah, Pesach, Dalat Koises. He's going to bring back a few big barrels of wine that's going to last for a long time. So the Baal Shem Tov even told him he should be alone the one pressing the grapes and making the wine. He did it. Once he finished, he closed it up in the barrels and he watched on them. And on the way back, it was very hard because it was already winter. There was a lot of rain and a lot of mud. And the way was whenever they had to stop, they took shifts. First, the Balagula used to go in, and Reb Duvet Mykolaiv used to stay outside with the barrels of wine, and he used to eat and drink and take a nap. Then this Yid was also a very early Yid, came out, and they changed, and he went in. That was how they did it the whole time. Baruch Hashem, after weeks, maybe even months, they arrived back to Mezhbish. And as they drove in with the horse and wagon to the Chotzer, to the, how do you call it? Court, to the court of the Holy Baal Shem Tov, courtyard of the Holy Baal Shem Tov. Reb Duvet Mykolaiv ran down from the wagon and he runs into the Rebbe and says, Rebbe, asisi shlichascha, I did what you ordered me to do outside. The Hashem was smiling, the Holy Baal Shem Tov, and they're both going out to see. And when they come out, what they saw. In those days, there was taxes for someone who brought in whiskey, brandy, how do you call it? Bronfen. How do you call bronfen in spirit? Alcohol, but not wine. Only on spirits it's called? Whiskey, brandy, all of those. Yeah, all of those spirits. Now, there was a police going by, and he sees a wagon with a few barrels, and he didn't know if it's wine. No one was there to tell him, because it was left alone for 2 minutes. What did he do? He had by him a sword. So he pushed it into the barrels, and when he took it out, he licked the end of the sword to see if it's wine, or if it's schnapps, or if it's yash, bronfen. Probably the first time he wasn't 100% sure, because wine is afterwards also with alcohol. So he did it a few times, and he did so by each and every one of the barrels. And when they come out from the house of the Baal Shem Tov to the courtyard, they see this. Versteht sich. It's right away became Yain Esach. You can't use it. But Reb David Mikalaiv bursted out in a cry. And he started crying, and he said, Rebbe, why did I get this punishment? I worked so hard. The Rebbe knows I was away from my house. I was away from the Rebbe, the whole Chodesh Tishre. And the whole time I was watching. I didn't sleep normally the whole time. And this is what had to happen. The Baal Shem Tov answered him, you know why? You forgot a little bit to ask for Siyata D'Shmaya. You were so focused on what you're watching, you're doing, you're going out of your way. You did gewaldig, but you have to add the tefillah to Hashem. Im Hashem lo yishmor yishav shukat shomer. You didn't ask enough for Siyata D'Shmaya, and that was what happened. So actually the Baal Shem Tov lost that wine. He didn't have, but we earned a nice story. Not a nice story, I mean to say a nice Mr. Askel, a teaching that you could do and you could do, but you have to remember to ask for Siyata D'Shmaya. Because it says in the name of Tzadikim, with Siyata D'Shmaya, nothing is too hard. Without Siyata D'Shmaya, nothing is easy. You can't do anything. Without Siyata D'Shmaya, you can't move. And with Siyata D'Shmaya, you could split an ocean. You could do everything. Everything could happen. You just need Siyata D'Shmaya. Help from Hashem. Ezri me'im Hashem oise shemayim v'oretz. And this is, they say even such a story that once the Baal Shem Tov HaKudish sat together with Talmidim on a Motzei Shabbos by Malav Malke, and before they sang the song Riboynu Oilumim, that we ask Hashem should open up all gates, Sharei Oira, Sharei Rech Yomim V'Shonim, Sharei Arichas Apayim, Sharei Broche. You know probably that tefillah that we say Motzei Shabbos, Riboynu Oilumim. He asked his Talmidim, they should say what they think, which one of the gates, which one of the Sha'arim is the most ikir, is the most that's koil all other. Every Talmud said another one, and he had the daughter, the Baal Shem Tov, her name was Udel. She passed by, she was a little girl, and he asked her what she says. She said that she thinks Shara Siyata D'Shmaya is koil everything. Baal Shem Tov said she is right. Because if you have Siyata D'Shmaya, other thought maybe Sharei Toire, Sharei Tefillah, Sharei Tshuva, Sharei Parnasa Toive, Sharei, you have so many, Zoyar Toire, Gewaltige Sharei, Sharei Siyata D'Shmaya. If you have that, you have everything. If you have Siyata D'Shmaya, you have everything. When we speak in this week's Parsha about the Keilim of the Mishkan, one of the Keilim is the Menorah. One of the Keilim is the Menorah. Now by the Menorah there's an interesting Mechilta. The Mechilta is in last week's Parsha, the end of Parshas Mishpatim. The Mechilta says like this. The Mechilta is a Medrash. Medrash on Shemois is called Mechilta. He says as well. All Keilim of the Mishkan that had to be from gold, if you didn't have gold, you could make it from other matchis. You can make it from other steel. Matchis is called steel?
Other metals.
Metals, other metals. You could make it from silver, from copper, even from stainless steel. It could be made out of every... Versteht, it should be like a tchila from gold, but if you don't have, you could do it from other matchis. There's even a psikta that says that the menorah that Klal Yisrael made by Chanukah, after they came into the Beis Hamikdash, They made Spuden Shal Barzel. That's how the Psikta says. Because the holy menorah was then Tumah. So they used Spuden, they made new from Barzel. That was the menorah that they used when they were Mechanach, the Beis HaMikdash, in the time of the Chashmenuim. Says about the Mechilta, one thing has to be from gold. You know what? Interesting. Not the menorah, the keruvim that they were on the Ahron. On the Ahron there was keruvim, and that had to be dafka from gold. And the Remeir Shapira says, this is to teach us. The keruvim is a face of a child, keravia. That's how the Gemara says a sukkah. Why are they called keruvim? Keravia, like the face of a child. Penei tinoik. When it comes to chinuch of the children, we have to invest a lot of money, but not even money, quality time, a lot of effort to invest in the chinuch of our children. You can't over there take an easy way out. Or the kalim, you don't have gold, you could go silver, copper, whatever. It comes to the keruvim and the Ahron, our children, we have to try our best. That's what everybody does. Every person is willing to do the best for his children. And before I go back to the menorah, I just want to quote interesting Balatirim. The Balatirim says, by the keruvim it says, they're going to be Pneim Ishalochiv. They were facing each the other. It says over there, Ifneim Ishalochiv. Comes to Balatirim and says, what was the remez by making Ifneim Ishalochiv? K'moy shnei chaveirim, shenoisin v'noisin b'divrei Torah. Like two chaveirim, that they are involved in a conversation in divrei Torah. They look one at the other and they learn together. If you're thinking in this Balatirim, it's a gewaltige Balatirim. Everybody knows. If you would ask him, what picture would you like to hang up in your dining room? He would say, my favorite picture, if I have a picture where I'm standing together with my Rebbe, it's for me such a gewaltige picture, this I would want to hang in my dining room. Or Hashem tells Klal Yisrael, I want you to build for me a Mishkan. Now the holiest place in the Mishkan is Kodesh HaKadoshim. Now Hashem says, which picture do I want to see in Kodesh HaKadoshim? Two keruvim, Pnei Mishalochiv, like two boys, two Yungelai, two Avrechim, two Bachurim, two boys sitting and learning together. That's the biggest, tremendous picture that Hashem wants to have in His Kodesh HaKadoshim. Now we're going back to the menorah. Instead we're going to speak about the menorah. By the menorah it says that the menorah was Miksha Te'asa HaMenorah. And the Lashon HaPasuk is Vasiso Menorah Zav To'or Miksha. It had to be from one piece. Te'asa. Rashi says, what's the Lashon Te'asa? Why doesn't it say Tase? Like it says in the beginning, Vasiso. Rashi says, Me'eleah. Hashem made, it was created by yourself. Because Moshe was very miskashe. He couldn't get it right how to make the menorah. So Hashem told him, you know what? Take the whole kikkar of Zuhav, throw it into the fire, it's going to come out the menorah. V'inasis Me'eleah. Now, the Sfas Emes asks, it says that Moshe was niskashe, and at the end it says, you should make it afterwards, Asher More Bahar. And Rashi brings Moshe was niskashe till Hashem showed him a menorah shel eish. That was when he understood how to make it. So ask the Sfas Emes. Let's see. Hashem told him how to make a menorah. He couldn't get it straight. It's very hard for him to understand the kanim, the kaftoirim, the geviyim, the prochim, whatever had to be done, and it has to be miksha out of one piece, the nairos. So Hashem shows him a menorah shel eish. Even after understanding how to do it, he wasn't able to physically do it, and Hashem told him, you know what, throw in the menorah, the kikkar in the fire, it's going to come out. So what was the purpose of showing him if Hashem knows, even after he's going to see how to do it, he won't be able to do it? Sagt das Sfas Emes a gewaltige Sach. Hashem needed, Moshe should want to do it. Should have the will. When he's still confused, he doesn't know what to do, he can't even have a will to do it. Once he showed him, he knows actually for what he has to thrive, what he has to reach, what's the goal that you're expecting from me. Now I can't do it. You have at least the Rotzoin. The Rotzoin is Oisius Tzinoir. You bring it down, Hashem says, you have the Rotzoin, that's enough. You can't do it, I'm going to do it. But it can't happen without, that's Menorah Shel Eish. Eish is Begematria Roitze. I want it. People sometimes think willing. If when a person wants something and he says, Hashem, I want it, he should know, even though he can't always reach it, but Hashem loves his Ratzon. That's what he brings down the Sasemis from his grandfather, the Chadish Yorim. Yogato umotzasa. The Gemara says, Motzasa means imitzia. And Yogato means you worked for it. How does it happen? You work. But afterwards, you don't even get it according to what the effort you put in. You get much, much more. It's a mitzvah. But if you don't put in the effort, you can't get it. Moshe had to have the will, the ratzon, very much to make the menorah. He should have it in mind, and he wants to bring it out, and he can't do it. So he's thriving to do it. He can't do it. Hashem is going to help him. He's going to be able to be mashlim. Now we have to learn from this week's Parashat. It's Parashat Shkolim. What do we learn from Machzas HaShekel? There's so much Torah about Machzas HaShekel, but I want to share with you a very positive gedank. If people are usually want to have shleimus, I want to do this b'shleimus, I want to do this b'shleimus. If it's only partial, he's not satisfied. Hashem teaches us, we're collecting money to build the Mishkan. For karbonos, I only want from you half. I don't, if you're going to do the whole, is gewaldig. But learn from this and everything in Avodas Hashem. Every little bit is choshev. Machzis is not only half. It could be even a quarter is also called. We see by Yachatz, on Pesach, we split the matzah. It's not actually 50%, because there's a bigger half and a smaller half. Yeah, there's sometimes a smaller half also. And the smaller half of the matzah you put back between the two matzahs. Meaning to say, machzis, how much you could put in, that you should learn from Shekolim. Also over there it says, Matbeya Shalesh. Hashem showed him a Matbeya Shalesh. You do how much you could, you have the Rotzoin, Eish is Roitze. You want and you thrive to do even better. But Hashem sees your Rotzoin. Just want to finish with a word from the father of Reb Shem Zalashitzer. He says, Gevaldig, Menoire Shalesh, Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu. He says, Menoire is a remes. It shows, it's a, how do you call it, the remes? It's like a signing, a hint, assigning a hint to both things. Ner mitzvah, v'toira oir. Because mitzvah is considered like a ner, and toira is like light. Ner mitzvah, v'toira oir, it says Gevaldig. Ner mitzvah is Moshe Rabbeinu. No, is Ahron HaKohen. He was the one that lighted the menorah, the ner mitzvah. Toira oir is Moshe Rabbeinu. He gave us the Torah. So the menorah shows on Moshe mit Ahron. So now let's see. The word menorah is written in the Torah. Usually we're out of Mem, Nun, Reish, Hai. So from the name of Moshe, you have a Mem and a Hai, but you're missing the Shein. From Ahron you have Hai, Reish, Nun, you're missing the Aleph. Menorah shal Eish. You get the Aleph and the Shein from Eish, you have all the letters of Moshe and all the letters of Ahron. Niskasha Moshe. Moshe says you have to make him a menorah, but he knows. Menorah refers to Ner Mitzvah V'Toira Oir. So it has to assemble Moshe and Ahron. We're missing over here a Shein from Moshe and an Aleph from Ahron. Hashem tells him, Menorah shal Eish. And like we said before, Eish is Roitze. When you want, then Hashem fulfills and makes it b'shleimis. We should all be zoiche. We should nechnes adam arben b'simche. To have simches and aches. As we said, tonight is going to be the big engagement. Whoever could come is cordially invited. And by all of you, simches and aches and all the best. Begashmius and berachnius.